Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and today we're having another episode about decks. So I've been hearing a lot of news about hey Nate, what's a really easy deck to play that you can kind of play brain dead and absolutely just trash everybody. Well, besides 21st, we'll go over Third Armor. Third Armor is one of the best, most broken decks you'll ever play in the game, and there's nothing to say more about it. It's kind of like the deck that you don't really need to. You need to be when you're skilled. When someone's skilled with it, you'll annihilate. When you're bad at the game, you'll win. You'll still win, barely though. So let's go over the recon tab. So this is gonna be. We're gonna first go over. First of all, we're gonna first go over team decks. We're gonna go over the cancer that this deck is for, and then we're also gonna go over 1v1s, which is even more cancerous. So supposedly something like this deck had like the most bans in the tournament league, and also it had like the most highest win rate. It was like the 90 every single time it was picked. It was like a 90% win ratio. Something crazy. I mean, I could be totally wrong. I'd be spewing things out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So the M8 coming in here with the recon. This is what's so great about the M8s. These things are fast. They have a nice 37 AP, and they carry a radio. That's what's super important. Why radios matter? Well, we'll get back to that. Radios are matter because of the corrected shot, but we'll go over that a little bit later. You have your M4A1 recon. Probably shouldn't buy this. Terrible. Waste of points. Don't bring it for team game. Scouts, don't bring them. Waste for team game. Recon, waste. Don't bring them for team games. In Jeep 50 cals, a waste. Don't bring them for team games. This does not apply. Again, for 1v1s. We'll go over that a little later. Now, you're like, oh, Nate, how can Third Armor be so good? It has no infantry. Well, that doesn't matter. You don't need infantry. You just need tanks. But for the infantry that you do need, I recommend bringing no leaders. You go bring in an A-card armor rifles. You're like, oh my god, only 9 infantry? Well, and they're trash infantry too. Well, you're going to be relying on tanks. Engineers and B, just to hold down the line, bring them in 50 cals. You can bring the armor rifles if you want 50 cals, but I have the philosophy that you don't want to bring 50 cals in A phase because you need to get into those key positions, and they're slower than all the other transports. And then you want to wave a C phase infantry, and you can kind of bring whatever you want, but I recommend bringing guys with engineers to fight CQC, some armor rifles with the half tracks. And why, Nate? Why are these half tracks so good? Well, these half tracks are so good because, for whatever reason, the divine inspiration from the ST2 gods, it has been determined that these 50 cal half tracks can shoot down aircraft, kill infantry, like when they just stare at them, and then also shoot down enemy half tracks. And even if you're skilled, you can even attack ground and suppress enemy tanks, and then surrender them. So these things are absolutely broken. They're kind of expensive now. They've increased the price, 10 points, but and then 50 points for the other one. But these things are awesome, and they're just too good, honestly. Like, you'll see D5 cluster bombers coming in to kill your tank blob. Well, you don't need to fret. You don't even need AA. You just need half track. 50 cals. Now, moving on, the tank tab. This is where your bread and butter is. You get to bring, I recommend you bring a card of M5A1. These are the same cost, orderly. These things are the same cost as a Panzergren, 30 points. You get 8 of them, so you get 1 less than a Panzergren, which is kind of crazy. And these things absolutely shred infantry. They got 2 Browning machine guns. They got a nice HE, and they'll be your these will be your infantry. Just like play with these guys as if they're your infantry. Then you got some Shermans. You get your M10. Sorry, your Jumbos. These things are just bounce shots for days. They only have 1500 range, so be careful. The only guys that don't is the 76s. These things are pretty good. I recommend you definitely need to either bring them. I recommend. You can bring them in A, but I recommend you have to bring one in B if you don't bring them in A, because you need something to start popping over those more heavier armor tanks in CQC, because your M4A1s will not cut the job when you hit like a Panther, but your 76s will, and these are going to be. Do not use them to fight in max range engagements against Panthers and heavy tanks, but try to engage this entire deck in like a close CQC, and I'll show you how to make open areas into CQC. These M4A1 3075 are also super good. They're 80 points. They annihilate infantry. They annihilate Panzer IVs. They're really good. And they're also on 1500 range, so don't try to fight max range engagements with enemy tanks, German tanks. And then you got some more Jumbos. You can kind of customize this tab. I don't think you can go wrong. I recommend you definitely bring an M5A1 and A. Definitely bring in a 76 MB. This is for team game. We'll go over the 1v1 next. But this is just like, this is what you need. This is what it has to be. And then everything else you can kind of customize how you want. But you definitely want like 3 card C's, tanks. You You want to have more than less. All right, support tab. You're like, Nate, where are all your commanders? Well, you don't need a commander because in my deck, I don't bring leaders in this deck. I just don't think you get enough infantry. So I don't think it's worth vetting. So with that, I bring ammo, but this is not going to be for everybody. But I'll show you why I bring all this ammo. But in general, you get flamethrowers. You get these 50 cals, 40 points. Don't bring them. They're trash. They're terrible in 1v1s. They're terrible in team games. They're too expensive, and they don't do anything. You get some Shermans in here. They're pretty good. You got the heat round. These things are pretty awesome. Their range is only 750, so that's pretty crap. So be wary of that. But that's it. That's all I have to say around here. The M8 Scots are okay. They're 30 points. But there's other priorities, I think, that you really need. You got a commander if you really want it, but that's all I have to say about this tab. Anti-tank, it's a little more exciting here. Get bazookas. Okay, so the bazookas are crazy. You can get 8 in B, 8 in A, 16 in B, and 24. So you get a million bazookas. And if you really want to, you can even take them on half tracks, which is stupid, but okay. The M5 guns are awesome. They have an APCR round that goes 2,000 range, more than the normal round. Same with the M10s. These things are great. I cannot recommend these enough. I just don't have them in this deck, but like these are absolutely amazing. M10s are your tank destroyers, the gods of the battlefield, so bring them, and they're super cost efficient. AA, you don't have that much AA, so just be wary of these. The M16s run out of ammo quick, and they're trash. If you want to shoot down anything, you're going to have to rely on those Beauforts or M15s. Now, this is what makes the deck cancer. This is what you're like, oh my gosh, guys, how do I win easy? Well, for team games, it is mortar spam, and what do I say? More mortar spam. So, radial mortars are cancer. Like, 4 of them will kill any tank. You just fire at them when they have corrected shot, and they'll just delete tanks. That's why you need the radios from the M8s. You just, like, get them hiding somewhere and correct shot and just annihilate any tank you look at. Just annihilate them. Whatever they are. AA piece, you see an 88, mortar it to death. You see a tank, mortar to death. You see some infantry, mortar to death. And that's why you need all that ammo. And you can bring 4 cards if you want to. And I have friends that min-max it all the way. You can bring another card of C cards. You have A, B, and C, and C. So you're having like too many, like 18 mortars. So you gotta be careful with you playing against third armor, because this is what makes them cancer. You can also bring long toms with ammo, and these absolutely destroy too. You can bring 3 cards if you really wanted to. I don't really make a. You can bring these if you want, but there's other things that are more efficient. You can also off-map spam. And the Goliath, this thing's beast. Bring in C phase and delete any tanks you look at. Buy all like 3 or 4 of them and shoot wherever you want to fire, and it will just delete that whole section of the map, including King Tigers. So you have a King Tiger problem, this will be your problem solver. Now, move the air tab. You don't get that many aircraft. It's pretty light. You do get P-51s, pretty fast. These are pretty agile, and they're really good for 1v1s. You get some P-51s, the bombers too. They have some big payloads, and you get pretty good availability on them. The fighters, you get 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 8. And then these you get 1, 2, 4. But the lighter one, you get 3, 6, 9. So pretty good. And you even get a recon one, I believe, P-51. But this thing's pretty trash. Don't try to do fighter combat with this thing. But it's fast. It's pretty good. And then obviously the bread and butter of Steel Division that everyone knows they have to do and have to play. Breakthrough. Obviously you always go with, every single time you go with barbed wire, trenches, and then whatever left. And I bring 2 MGs. But that's just, come on. Everyone knows that already. I don't need to explain that. Now let's go over to the 1v1. Check it out for a second. I passed it. I'm bad at these videos. Alright. 1v1s. What makes this deck so good? Okay, so you can, I recommend if you're playing, I'm playing Maverick, there is a balance build, and you can kind of tailor it to your own want. I really recommend the key units I would bring if you're playing 1v1. Obviously, you need to bring your flamethrowers. I really recommend these. They carry smoke. They can annihilate in CQC. They're just going to be cost efficient, and they come in really fast transports. Cannot recommend the M10s enough. 180 penetration, come on, 185 penetration, and they're 75 points. And they could take 2 hits, and they got pretty good armor. They got 75 armor, right? So, same armor as it's called a Panzer IV, but you got the same penetration as a Panther G, and it's 75 points. Almost the same cost as a Panzer IV. So, I don't know, you just kind of slept on this vehicle. It doesn't make any sense, but we'll go with it. Get some jumbos here. Really rely on the jumbos. They can really annihilate. The M476s, really rely on those to kill Panthers. And then all your infantry carry bazookas, and bring them all in half tracks. Just bring them in half tracks for days. Half tracks kill everything. Half tracks kill everything. And also, be reminded too that like 4 Shermans together when you're fighting against a Shermans and they're trying to cluster you. Well, like 4 Shermans, for example, can suppress a D5 from dropping their cluster bombs. So for whatever reason, they think that you know, like you're like, I need more AA. Well, instead of going to your AA tab, buy more tanks because your tanks will shoot down aircraft. And it's so sad. M8s are really good. I really recommend them. I don't really recommend everything else. Yeah, so I'd just say this is the one we want. This is mine if you want to look at it. I bring these MGs. I think they're better. I think they're superior to these ones. They're same cost. You get more availability too. Look at this. This is so stupid. I feel like this is worse. I could be totally wrong, but I feel like this performs worse when I play. And then we can look at the stats. You know, the stats are the same. I guess the rate of fire is different, but barely. But you get more. So why would you not get one more? If you get this and you vet it, I guess, yeah. Maybe these are better. You can pick either one. Don't care the 50 cals though. These things are way too expensive for what they are. You get some leaders too. If you're gonna get leaders, bring them from the artillery tab. I feel like leaders are pretty key, but you can really vet up your tanks, and that's what I think is more important. I bring some leaders here and A, giving up that double vet. You can maybe get a commander. A lot of double vet tanks later on. What else? What else is saying here? I think it's pretty much it. Let's go to a game for a second now. I want to show off. Oh my god, we do not need to go to custom. We'll go to scrimmage. We'll pick a map. We'll say Shredrin here. We'll go third. Oh, I'm not even on the right team. We'll close everybody else. We'll go third armor. Okay, and we'll talk about a couple things. About what's broken about them, what's good about them, and overall, why, how do you use these mortars? Like, you see a lot of guys who complain about it, but they don't use it themselves. So I think this is a key guide to like how to do it. We're loading in. I'm sorry, guys. I know that other professional YouTubers will cut this stuff out, but come on, you come to watch my shit content. What do you expect? All right, so we'll just buy mortars for now, and we'll just start this thing. We'll go to max speed. We're gonna mortar our own tanks. We'll buy a radio here, maybe. We'll send out a guy. We'll send out a jumbo.
Artillery at your orders.
We'll have the jumbo face us as if we're the enemy. And then we'll wait for a second. So I'm gonna talk about this. So the radios, if you look at here, guys. Okay, let's hotkey this. First of all, you should always hotkey your mortars. I hope you guys do that. Push control and then 1. So then when you push 1, you can you know, grab them. You can do this with anything. Let's say I want to control group this, you know, this jumbo. Push control 2. Now I want to push 2 on my keyboard. I get that. So really key to do this is the only way. So now, for example, if we had our mortar right here, it's pretty wide, but look how precise it gets right now. Boom, just like that. Just super key, and that's huge to killing enemy tanks. We don't have that many mortars, unfortunately. But you're gonna get the gist. For example, let's say I wanted to mortar our own fellow man here. There you go. This is where you kill tanks with. There you go. Already done. Already killed a tank. You get points for that. So that's what we're talking about. That like these radios here are meant to help. Well, we can deploy from both sides. You can deploy. You can kill infantry. You can kill enemy tanks. If you have 4 of them right here. Okay, so if you want to kill an enemy tank, you have 4 of them. So usually the enemy. Okay, let's say they're facing this way.
Ready to pound them, sir.
So like the tanks are coming at you. You're over a ridge or something. Do not fire on top like this. Try to zoom in and fire right here. Because what you'll do is you'll make the enemy retreat into your gunfire, and that's what you want. You can push Z2 to hold fire. Look at that. It's already damaged. It's already really crippled. Fire one more time. If you had 4 of them, it would be instant death for that jumbo. And this is what you want to do, guys. Look at that. Look at that. We just killed a 140-point tank. You kill that King Tiger. You get 4 of these things, you just annihilate. You can do the same thing with Goliath piece, guys. These don't have correct shot, but these can just shoot across the map and annihilate whatever you want. So this is kind of my guide of how to, like, why they're broken. Also, bazookas. So let's say you're like, oh, Nate, man, my Shermans are dying. You need to learn the hotkeys to smoke, because you need to be smoking off. There's a King Tiger over here on this road. Just smoke it off. You don't need to fight the enemy. And the best is if you have all these bazookas, You can run down the road. You can smoke the whole road. You can queue up smoke orders. Just smoke it all. They carry tons of ammo.
Waiting for orders, Captain.
And you can just keep smoking the whole road. And there you go. Now, you just come down here and you rush down and grab whatever you want. Another thing to note, too, this is one key thing not to suck with this deck. Do not bring ammo on A. You're like, oh, but Nate, you just told me to use all these mortars. Well, you're wrong. These mortars can shoot the entire 10 minutes before they'll need ammo. They'll run out the last, like, 2 seconds before you need ammo. If you shoot the entire 10 minutes, you don't take any breaks. You're just non-stop firing. So, that's another thing. Anyway, guys, this is my guide to how to play third armor, how to be cancerous, how to trash your enemy, how to be good. Anyway, leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more content.